Alright folks, we are back with a non-review video. Can you believe it? We're actually back to making videos. We're not reviewing stuff. But we are demonstrating something new to us. So what we've gotten now is we broke down and we got a GPR. We paid for this with our own money. This is not a review video. It's not sponsored. It's just something we wanted. And we've been practicing with it and playing with it, trying to get used to it. And today is the first day we actually need it for a reason. We are at a cemetery. I'm on the board of directors, and there's been some questions from a family about where a relative is buried. So they claim their relative is buried here, where you'll see this, there's just a marker with his initials, but our records indicate he is buried over here. We'll go over there in a minute, and he actually has a headstone. So I don't know how they're getting this discrepancy, but we're going to use the GPR, which should show there is no grave here, and it should show that there is a burial by the headstone. So we're going to try it and bring you along for the ride, and we'll see if we can solve this mystery today. All right, so here's the unit, and here, I hope you can see the screen. There's a glare. So what we're going to do is we're going to start back away from where this suspected grave is, and we're going to roll right past it, and hopefully you'll be able to see the data coming through. So on this side, if you can see it, this is the depth. And then up here is how far I've moved. And on this particular unit, this white line will move as we go. And when you get over a target you want to investigate, as you pass it, you can back up and the line will move back to the center. And that aligns with these arrows on the unit, on the cart. So you'll know where to dig, where we be hunting a bottle dump or something like that. So we're not going to get really in depth on how GPRs work, because we're still learning too. But we are going to roll this forward and see. There shouldn't be anything show up. And like I said, there's probably a glare. So what you're seeing is just the surface disturbance. This right here is called a hyperbola. It's probably a shallow rock. If we were to find a silver grave marker, one of the chrome ones, it would show up more black. So we roll past that grave, and it literally, there's nothing here. So let's go where we think this guy's buried. All right, so our records at the cemetery indicate that this person is buried here. Now this grave is from 1915. So if we see anything at all from what we have learned with the GPR, it's probably going to be very weak, because I'm sure the grave is collapsed and it's just dirt around what may or may not even have been a wood coffin. And so these things work on contrast or anomalies. So it's pretty much filling back in and just going back to dirt. So it may just be a very weak return. We should at least see a disturbance if someone has been buried here. But the family says he's buried over there. Records say here. We're fixing to roll the GPR past this gravesite and see if there is a return. Here we go. All right, so what you see here, this is that headstone we just passed. This is the suspected burial, and as you can see, it's very weak. I don't even know if it's going to show up. There is a hyperbola right here, and then you can see the disturbed soil on top. It doesn't match what's next to it. So this is the grave we're standing on. This is the one that was suspect that we passed, and it's very weak. So we're pretty confident that he is buried here where his headstone is, and that other place was just a marker put in by mistake, because that whole plot was supposed to be empty. So this just helps confirm. And spoiler alert, we've already talked to the family, and they agree with what we found. So we're gonna pull up the marker. The mystery's put to bed. Now before we leave, I'm gonna show you some more modern graves, and you can see that textbook parabola that this thing will make when you go over a grave that's more modern. All right, so we're gonna roll past kind of a mixture of newish graves. So we got like 90s, we got the 80s, 1960, and we got one at least from the 1944. So I'm gonna roll this past these graves and let y'all see what those returns look like, the hyperbolas this makes. So we're gonna start right here, and we should see one pretty quick. All right, so there's one grave showing up. Here comes that second one. Here comes another one. And then we got the one from the 60s again, and then another one coming up from the 60s. The one from 1944 is very weak. And then we got the family marker. There shouldn't be anything there. And then we got 1989. And lastly, we got 1972. So you can see that 72 is deeper. This was the older one, they're deeper. Nowadays, the top of a burial is probably going to be around the 2-foot mark, because the bottom of the burials nowadays are 52 inches. So the stuff is not buried 6 feet deep like it used to be, if that's what you're thinking. So that's why they look shallow. So we're hoping we're going to find some trash pits, bottle dumps, and outhouses, and hopefully we're going to take this to the battlefield, and hopefully we can maybe see some intact artillery shells and ignore the smaller railroad iron. That's our problem with the place where we're hunting, is railroad spikes everywhere, and they read like artillery shells. Hopefully, we don't know, but hopefully we're going to be able to tell the difference between railroad iron and artillery shells, and we should be able to grid search that battlefield where you've seen us metal detect numerous times. So GPR, look for that in coming videos, and we'll see you then.